Ready?
Yeah, now we're live. So welcome to our conversation on being. Today with Curry Glassell.
My first bars facilitator years and years ago.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies. What a joy to be here. We're on being. On being.
We're on being.
Yeah.
We're like sitting on being right there.
When you said that though, Helen, I thought of there was a movie years ago with Peter Sellers called On Being or Being.
Really?
Really?
Right?
I'm gonna have to look that up. On being. Okay.
Remember there used to be a conversation on consciousness or in consciousness? This is conversation on being.
Right. Well, are we on or are we in? And hopefully we are on.
On, in, through, with, by, everything.
And because.
And we are in a television studio that is in this internet thing.
Yeah, because we're all in different places.
That right. Being there, being here, being everywhere.
Aren't we lucky? You guys, how many years have we been familiar with Zooming and reaching out to people? I mean, wow, right? I mean, last night I was with my son Nathan over there, and his wife had gone out for a girls' night, and we were taking care of Ava and having a good time.
Grandma Curry. That's so cool.
G-Ma, Gaga or G-Ma.
Okay.
I'm not really a grandma. That's really strange. But anyway, I mean, you know.
G-Ma. I like that.
G-Ma. Gary said I was more like Auntie Mame, but
I still haven't seen that movie. I think it's time.
Oh, with Rosalind Russell? Absolutely. Best.
Yeah.
Great movie. And it's interesting because it also has to do about being you with money.
All right. You're going to have a class on that coming up.
Yeah, it would be a great movie for anybody to watch because it takes place as the Depression, the Great Depression occurs in New York, and all the people go from these elaborate, fabulous events and parties to having no money and having to go to work. It's a really amazing movie.
I will have that this weekend because I'm really curious. I never watched the movie. I didn't know.
And it's a comedy.
Huh. Thank you for bringing that up, because one of the things that, and we were saying this just before going live, and I apologize, we were a few minutes late because we were just having so much fun in the studio behind the scenes. And we feel poked periodically, and it's fun because that's part of what unhides us. It's part of our willingness to just show up. Peter Sellers' movie was being there. Oh, that's what Suzette was writing. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I thought it was a comment about being here, being there, being
here, being there. I'm like, wait, Peter Sellers, the movie.
There you go. I love that. So thank you. I appreciate the clarification. That's so cool. But with being poked or being, we get these lovely wedgies. We've been playing around Access for a while. Helen and I are relative newbies compared to Curry, who's been like one of the beginning, founding members of the club, if you want to call it that. And just for kicks, it's not really that, but I mean, just funny. But one of the things is, we get these lovely wedges from the G-Man, from Gary. And one of the things that he had said was that, kind of comment in passing, whatever, that I'm refusing to be funny. And you were just speaking about the Great Depression in this anti-mame and dealing with all of this, like, truly like holy fuck moments. These life does not look the way you think it does. And how do you deal with it? How do you have ease? And there comes humor. And when you add that little dose of humor to everything, it just makes things so much ease. And how much are we refusing to have that play and that humor and that just looking at things from a different kind of perhaps a little perverted point of view? What if it doesn't have to be as tough?
Having the ease, because when you add the humor, it completely dissipates the significance.
Exactly, because we make everything so important in our lives, and especially the problems, we make them so big. Especially right now, it's like, oh my God, the coronavirus, the COVID, the isolation. I cannot see anybody.
Telenovela, it's terrible.
Yes, and I'm really, I had actually a session with G&D yesterday, so we were talking about how people don't desire to have their sadness taken away, and they will really not like you if you do that. So instead, you have to acknowledge their choice and invite them to something different and allow them to be sad or significant if they choose.
Yeah, because it's their choice. And especially what I found out was a lot of people, if I try to get them out, even with humor, they don't leave it. And I'm talking about, no, I am hurting. Don't touch my hurt. I'm suffering. Poor me.
Do you realize what you just said? That don't touch my hurt. It is my precious. It is my pain. It is my significance. It is the only thing that I almost know how to be, or that I've identified myself with. And while I'll honor a person's choice to whatever it is, generally, I've had my I struggle with some people who I'm particularly close to and more invested with, like my parents. but I'm really letting go as much as I can, so I don't get so. But they love that pain, and they love the drama, and they love the involvement that they get from other people when they have that misery, because other people want to come in and somehow change things, contribute to things.
And Rachel, you are spot on. And one of the things that I really, and I have been, as you guys know, since actually I met Gary and Dane in 2001, I have been working at trying not to be right for almost 20 years.
You said trying.
Trying not to be right, because I really am just getting clear that when I make myself wrong, I'm still stuck in the right wrong. And you know what I did? I got the Anne's clearings, not only in English, but in German and French, just to make sure my little noggin could not fight it any longer.
What I did is I actually recorded. They have that clearing loop is fantastic.
Yeah.
I will look for the link so that I can post it in here, because it is absolutely fantastic. Let's see if I find it. But I will say, what?
It's life-changing.
Oh, it's life-changing. And the thing is that, to me, consciousness is turning on the light and being able to see a different possibility. And so many times, until we go through the pox and pods, we don't see that there's another way to see. Or until, I don't know, something like clicks different, or the light turns on, or something changes, and then we can see that we have a different kind of choice available. So there's been a lot melting in my world the last few months, but this rightness clearing loops, I downloaded them I downloaded the PDFs in Hebrew and English and Spanish, and I created a loop for myself. Although they are they're pre-recorded, but I wanted it in my voice, where I have all three languages going together. And I made a loop for myself to be able to listen to, so I can't run away. But, now that you're saying in other languages, there's Chinese, there's Russian, there's who knows what I've been in other lifetimes.
But also, Rachel, first of all, I would love for you to send me that loop. Can I have it, please?
Sure. Me too.
And Russian? Yes.
I don't do Russian. I'm sorry. I just do really bad Russian accent.
Oh, I do it.
I will say it in Russian and English. So.
But we were all Russian in some lifetime, But listen,
they're rushing somewhere. Somebody has to get somewhere.
If you know Russian and you know Spanish and you know Hebrew, find one you don't know. That's the key to it going places where you can't logic it.
Aha, here we go. I found it. It's on Ann Maxwell's store. I'm going to post the
They're
link
all
in
there.
here.
They're all there. Pick
Oh,
one.
they're all there. And you can also, I mean, for anyone who doesn't want to record their own voice or whatever, you can easily, here you go. You can purchase it. Let me tell you, Ann is, post? It says can't post to some destinations. Okay, so I posted it there. Let me make a little banner for it.
Yeah,
that's a long banner. Let me make a tiny URL kind of banner because that's a really long, and that'll be hard for people to type.
But they can also go to Ann Maxwell's shop, or it's on the Access.
It's on Ann Maxwell's shop.
I think it's also on the Access webpage shop as well.
Yes. Okay. Good. So then that's available, guys. The StreamYard, to the little banner on the StreamYard, so that y'all can write it down. I'm going to scroll it across the bottom, or actually just put it there.
Rachel, I'd like to go back to something you said.
That's the rightness clearing loop. If you want to write that down, or I posted it in the comments beneath the video, so you could see it from there. It's on Ann Maxwell's shop, and it is freaking brilliant. And I have to just high five her. I paid for one loop thinking I was just getting one.
Yeah.
And then she made a second, and then she made a third, and then she made a fourth, and they're all there together. And one of the best ways of being us, Curry, just like you were saying, holy fuck, it's getting out of the wrongness of us and getting out of that program of yuck that everybody else seems to be in. And so thank you. And I'm sorry, I think I might have talked over you.
I think you said what I was about to say.
Oh.
Yes, you just got it out of your head and blabbered it all over. But I also like to comment. Remember, I was saying how people can't get out of their pain. But what do they say? They say, poor me, which not only in the sense, oh, poor me, I'm a victim, but it also a lot of times create the poverty, including poverty of emotions, poverty of being, and poverty of money. And I know you have a class, Curry, with coming up, money and being. So can you comment on that poor me syndrome or program or whatever you call it, and the significance of that?
Did you say poverty of being?
That's what it came up.
Yeah. So actually, it's really interesting because I don't know, weren't you? I know, Rachel, you were. Helen, were you in the creation of wealth class this past weekend?
Rachel was. I could not be there.
Sure. Okay. Well, you'll get the download from us, and try and get there if you can at some point if it works in your schedule. But this was such a great class for me personally. I received so much acknowledgement, information, and it was like a tunnel to come out of the wrongness of me for the first time in a long time. And
likewise.
2 years ago, the really funny part, this was part of the acknowledgement. 2 years ago, I joined an anthology book that Debbie Dassinger was making. And you know what I titled the chapter that I was in? The Wealth of My Being.
Wow.
Futurist much? Honoring much? I love that. I love that.
The wealth of my being, and my story was about how the Access Consciousness mantra gave me this energy of peace and calm in a time where I was freaking out, and it had to do with a hurricane and a storm and not being able to get to my kids at school. And it's kind of a cool story.
Want to share it with us?
Sure. Also, it's in the book. It's a whole bunch of stories about, it's called I'm Still Here. I think is the name of the book on Amazon. Deborah Dash, I'm Still Here.
I'll look for that.
Yeah. Let's not share it because we have so much else. Let's talk about being with money, because wow, that is it in many worlds an oxymoron, right? Being happy. If anyone was raised in any Christian Judaic religion, we were all told that money is the root of all evil.
No, not in Judaism. Not that it's, at least that I'm aware of, not that it's the root of all evil. It's that you use it to create something greater. There's actually, if you go into
Okay, so I'm talking
deeper
about
stuff. It's that, but what it's been bastardized into, very
I'm
much.
glad you said that, because that's obviously the New Testament version that I was raised. I was raised Episcopalian. Okay, didn't even know anything about my Jewish heritage for most of my life. So very much in the Christian Catholic world, that is the case, and that's what's been promoted in those religions.
There's some saying about it's easier for somebody to get into heaven, something with a camel and a needle or something.
No, I know it. It's easier. I actually went to theology school, guys, for a while. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get to heaven. But that's also New Testament, right? So it doesn't really apply to Jews unless they want to. So the wonderful thing, I actually, it's another whole story, but I did spend some time studying under a rabbi. And I loved the freedom that the Jewish religion and the Jews had, that the Christians seemed to make all these rules. And the Jews were like, yeah, but we can just like kill this, like these chickens or this cow, and God will forgive us because he loves the smell of chickens and cows. I mean, like the blood sacrifice. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, I still have a hard time when we go to services and we read, the thing about the sacrifices, and I'm like, it's got to be something else here. And then my brother said, well, look at the root of the word. My brother's religious. Both brothers are very religious. And he said, korban, sacrifice, karev, is to come closer. So it's actually about letting go of what's not allowing you to be closer to God. So, I mean, when you... Truly, everything is. There's one thing that I spoke about with my brother. My brothers were arguing and discussing some religious something or other, and I just walked up to them and I said, "Well, yeah, everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be." And my older brother, who's more into the religion, was more into religion at that time. Now the second one's caught up. He said that's the basis of Kabbalah, and that is the basis of how the world was created. It is much more than meets the eye. And so, yes, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Form and formless, and so much can come through. And it's like really a whoa kind of a conversation. But look at that. We assign so much significance and meaning, and like money has to mean something. And there's so much energy there, and being, oh my God, how do you be? What is that? There's so much significance that we put on the house of things that we don't realize the gift that's possible in them if we're actually willing to be present and explore. Sorry, my head just went.
That's cool. I think we ought to do a call about that at a different time. But let's talk about being you and the adventure of being you, because if we make sadness significant, then we are making our FEELINGS significant. And if we're making our FEELINGS significant, apparently we are lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are lying to ourselves and others, because only the body feels. And I have really made a choice, and I would encourage everybody listening to look at how often they use the word feel, because I know that I use it way more often than I should. And what I'm doing is I'm like lying. I'm like outright lying when I say that, because me, the being, an infinite being, would an infinite being feel? No. Now, yes, my body, if I run into a wall, feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But there's really a difference there. And if you are saying you feel sad, like Helen was saying, that's a lie.
Total lie.
And it actually stops you from being you.
And that lie is that intensity. The being you is actually spacious and light,
right?
And amazingly open. And there is no solidity and density and tightness and contraction and So wow,
maybe we should get blonde wigs, not Helen, but you and me, Rachel. Because
I am blonde.
If we actually become more space and more airy, more space filled, we tend to, like I said the other day and had to correct myself, I feel like I don't know who I be. because I have made these solidities me. I have made them the identity of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he gets it when he gets it, right?
Yeah, and it's not being. When we make it solid, it's something almost like outside of us, like a box that squeezes and squeezes and squeezes until we kind of like, at least for me, I would use feel, because that's a solidity, that's a lie. I feel contracted, I feel like small, where I'm not even being me, but I define that as what I am.
And when you say those words, instead of unlocking, you're locking that in.
Exactly, because that lie is solid. That lie is that's what creates. It's like
you create the solidity. And if everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, there's that space of possibilities there. There's that space of wonder there. There's that kind of, that's why I love doing the 10s so much, because it's taking everything from little particles, little things that matter and mean so much, and it opens them into this wave of, wow, what else is there?
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, even look at the words, the matter, you know.
Mm-hmm. It matters. It matters.
It matters, you know, and the density of even matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like almost, not almost, that's the gravity that pulls us down.
That's it exactly. It's gravity.
Gravity.
Like we were mentioning something about humor before, and I said, well, seriously, it's funny, but it doesn't have to be serious.
It doesn't have to be. Like the serious gravity of situation.
The serious gravity of the situation, ladies and gentlemen, is that we should all dye our hair blonde.
Exactly.
Or just, let it be multicolored. Nestle, my daughter really loves, there's a character in Harry Potter. Her name is Tonks. I can't remember her for Nymphadora Tonks, I think. And she is like a shapeshifter. And so as she's sitting there in the dinner table, her face changes into a duck shape. Her hair grows pink. Her hair grows blue. Or Mystique from X-Men, who can just take on any form, any shape. What if we'd be willing to just do that with no point of view, with everything, every choice we make, with every, we don't even have to define ourselves by blonde, which is really funny, because earlier today I was asking my husband about a PayPal payment and asking, did it come through? Because he had the account open on the computer. And he's like, you just have to open your PayPal and look. And I'm like, can you just show me? And he goes, how blonde are you?
Blondes have more fun. You know how mad that used to make me? Because everybody in Texas is a blonde almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fun thing is, like, because I actually today, I need to figure out here the orange.
Okay, there's orange. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was the camera or the sunlight. No, it had orange in there.
And I have a purple and a green, and every time when I start getting too serious, or like get into that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick this in. It's actually an extension.
Oh, wow.
It's a color set. I have like a whole bunch of them in different colors. And I'm like, okay, buddy, which one would you like today? Not to be serious. And what's interesting, when I put it in, instantaneously, it puts a smile on my face. And with the orange, I just cannot take myself seriously.
What a great idea.
It started a couple of years ago when I was in one of those professional hair stores and I saw a spray color. And I'm like, I'd like to spray my hair pink.
I like the orange. And I like the orange. And it matches the orange and the flowers in your dress.
Yeah. That's kind of like where it came from, because I'm like, okay, which one? Okay, that matches the dress.
Do you have a couple of them?
She's got a whole package. I saw them. They're all rainbow colored.
I think it's like 10 or $10 on Amazon.
Oh,
And-
wow.
And they're different colors.
And you just clip it in?
You just clip it in.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to receive Amazon shipments in Guatemala again. To be able to fly again.
And you cut it to your length, pretty much.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then we
One
cannot take
movement.
ourselves seriously.
Exactly. One movement, one choice, one step to get out of that yuck. And you don't have to be all that, grave and serious and do things so perfectly and get things so right. Like even this creation, and which started in the little impromptu Facebook group that Helen and I have, the Be You Without Hiding, because we were just speaking, we have one another's backs a lot, and we're like, we sure do hide like a lot, like super well for many, many years in so many different ways. And we said, what can we do to get a movement out of our comfort zone, out of our, this is what we've always done, and just go beyond that, whatever it looks like. And it doesn't have to be perfect, certainly doesn't have to be, organized or themed with
Serious or important.
Yeah, okay, so if we just start to fuck with things, what will that create? And then came the Facebook group. Within like a day came the Facebook group.
I think that's on that. I think that night we actually created the group.
The Facebook group. And then we just started to play. And in saying, we just became Being You certified facilitators. We've been certified facilitators for a while, but Being You, for me, was the topic that I avoided more than anything else. And so we just became that. And we thought, it'd be so much fun to play and to speak with other Being You certified facilitators and learn, play, receive, whatever, contribute, anything, everything, all of it. Just, there's so much unhiding really to be done in the world. Unhiding of the joy and the happiness. We come out happy. When we come out of the womb, we come out happy. But what the hell? We take on so much other stuff that's got nothing to do with us, that's not us. And we take it on and we think it's so real. And we have to, really, you got to get serious. You're 6 years old or 5 years old. You got to buckle in and do school and learn the money game. And, you have to go to college in order to have a job that you absolutely hate and, work 9 to 5. And, so many rules that don't really apply to us.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's interesting you say it doesn't apply, but a lot of people buy the idea that they have rules that they have to follow. They have to follow what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, what's appropriate behavior, how appropriate for an adult to have the color hair, like different colors. I used to be like, oh my God, how could they do that? Looking at the teenagers, and now I am doing it. It's getting out of those getting out of the yuck that creates the solidity, importance, the gravity. And what I found, not taking myself seriously creates so much space of just being and enjoying life.
And if they're new to Access at all, like we haven't done a lot of pocking and potting, but you can take the clearing statement and you can just say something as simple as, what yuck am I inventing to stop the joy I could be having? And everything that doesn't allow that, pock and pot all that, okay? So it's not like some big, long, hard thing. You can really shorten it, and it still works, and it begins to move the energy. I have spent so much time. I just, since I met them, I actually met the boys the night before 9/11. Well, I met Gary the night before 9/11. I met Dane the day before. They had just finished up doing what used to be a level 2 and 3 in Houston. And so I really can't never forget meeting them. And I remember when the clearing statement was 2 pages long, and I thought to myself, how will I ever figure this out. Of course, I'm trying to figure it out because I'm a head tripper and have a head tripper. And thanks to Access, I'm less of a head tripper and I can laugh at my head tripping. Thank goodness. You know, I should just like get like a picture of like a jump rope and like put it over my head. Jumping, you know, but I don't know where the trip is. I don't know. I probably need another image. But, you know, to be able to laugh at yourself and the humor that Access and going to the Access classes and not making myself so damn significant has changed my life. And it's given me a joy with everything. And the one other thing I want to say is that so many times I have recalled that both Gary and Dane have said, if it's not light, it's not right. But if you're not happy and light and joyful like a child, then something's off. You're not really being you. Being is not dense, you know, and I hate it. I was so convoluted and misidentified and misapplied so much stuff from the complete crazy way I was raised and then fighting the way I was raised. And by the way, when you're fighting against, you can't really be you because you're fighting against everybody, including you.
Everybody is everybody. It includes your body.
That's
includes
right.
your body and includes you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just makes it stronger. There's a saying that, I mean, I've heard for years, what you resist persists. So anything that you're fighting against, you're just making it a stronger wall and hurting your head by hitting it, you know, in the process.
Rachel, Gary and Dane's twist on that is what you resist, you create.
Ah, there you go. That's brilliant.
You talk about a strong, strange wall, man. We are massive creators. And there are times over the years where I've thought I have had lights on moments, which actually, wait, my head's going in so many different directions. I would like for people to acknowledge the progress they've made, because I found that when I don't do that, it's sort of takes away my joy.
Yeah, because it's actually goes back.
Yeah.
Wait, y'all spoke at the same time. Wait, one at a time. You spoke at the same time.
No, I was saying when you actually don't acknowledge, you go backwards. You go back to what it was, and sometimes even worse than before. At least for me, that's what I found out. If I don't acknowledge what I'm being here now, it's immediately kind of like goes back to yuck. And then I'm like, what just happened? And it's not happened. It's like I created it, which is interesting because a lot of times we say, oh, what just happened? What happened to me? How did that happen? And it doesn't happen. We create everything.
Yep.
We're magnificent creators. And how often do we create? Instead of creating for ourselves, we create against ourselves. Pretty much.
And if you do like I do, because I love studying and educating, and so I read a lot about quantum physics and the molecular structure, and I talk with people who know much more than I do. And one of the things that I have found out in the past few years is that our brain, and this is also from my son too, Nathan, who's also like, he's looking at different ways to, you know, create his business and stuff. And so he reads things that are, I mean, I could give you a list, but there's some really cool books. He said our brain tends to go towards the negative like 80 or 90% of the time rather than the positive.
Is that because it's seeking to protect us or to find some anomalies or something to, you know, survive, like fight or flight?
We'd have to ask a neuroscientist, but in the world of possibilities and access and the clearing statement, just knowing that helps you go, wow, crap. So do I have to choose that? No, I don't have to choose that. That's a choice to go to the crap. That's a choice to go to the past. That's a choice to go to not muse. It's a choice to, what is it, Rachel? What, Helen? Like to ponder, just to stay stuck on the negative. What am I?
To fixate on it.
It's a choice to fixate. And so
But
everything.
then when you fixate, you anchor yourself to that, and you can't have anything different. Nothing else can show up.
And so like everything that causes us to fixate, pock and pot all that. I mean, ladies, I pock and pot myself morning, noon, and night. I still listen to clearings at night. They even wake me up. This morning I was woken up at 4 o'clock. I still listen to Gary and Dane. I have Dane's Being You book in the car. I mean, through all of COVID, when we finally got to go back in our cars because we were in a zombie apocalypse for 6 weeks, you know, I was on my bike. Even on my bike, I had my phone and I was playing clearings as I was riding around. I am constantly washing, but of course I had a point of view that I was really fucked up, you know, so that helped. And I kept thinking,
have a t-shirt for that. There's an access t-shirt. You're not as fucked up as you think you are.
That's like my favorite all-time Access saying, right? And so I'm always, but it actually, the truth part is that when you are in that, like you don't quite get that you created all this yuck, if you pull out a clearing or you go do a fracking or you find something or you call a friend and say, can you facilitate me? If you make a choice to be active and change it, you can change it right away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that active choice. It's that next step. And somebody's asking for that list of books. Facebook user.
Raving Fans is one. That's the one I was thinking of right away. Raving Fans is an amazing little story about how important it is to really be like if you're having a product, like my son's a realtor, to make the person really valuable who's seeking your product. But
well, to me, if you look at that the energy of raving fans, all of us are like Dane's raving fans. Why? Because he's so willing to be himself, and he's so willing to see us and allow us to be us in everything that we be. And there's like an avatar, you know, where we're being seen, at any time we're willing to be ourselves. And I know it's such an enigma, and we think we have to do something, we think, rather than be, and then we have to do something rather than just be.
Think and do.
Yeah, think and do. Lots of doing. But when we get out of that and we recognize that when we're truly just like, hey world, hey, you know, how is everybody? And just like, hey, let's play. That melts everything. And it is beneath this is a client, this is a person, this is a facility. It just.
And Rachel, what Gary and Dane are asking us to do, which is the hard part, is to become our own raving fans.
Yes. And that's the hardest part, because we would be raving fans for everybody. But
everybody else.
Everybody else. But when it comes to us, or at least for me, I go through the judgments, through the checkbook. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what's good, what's bad, and how I'm not fitting into that box of perfection.
Yeah. Right.
It's all my life I've been like the perfectionist.
But whose judgment of perfection is it?
Hello.
It's always mine, because I never can achieve that.
Right.
But not in my eyes.
Whose story is it? Like I remember when my daughter was younger and was playing a lot with Barbies, to her, the ideal of perfection was, you know, the Barbie figurine with the blonde hair and stuff. And she's got dark hair. It was, you know, long before, now it's shorter, but, you know, long dark hair. And she said, you know, the bad girl in the Barbie playground, whatever, that they have, the Raquel doll.
I didn't know there was a bad girl.
Yeah, there's Raquel, and she's always the evil one trying to steal Ken away. No, black hair, dark hair, and that's Raquel. And so it was really interesting, because she had these points of view that to be accepted, or to be this strange idealized standard of beauty or whatever, she had to look like that. And that was just, you know, a little kid of 6-7 years old. And so whose standards are they anyway?
Whose standards are they? And, you know, when we were growing up, I don't know, Rachel and Helen, but I used to read the Veronica books. Veronica Ritchie, Riverdale High, Archie. That's
Yeah.
And so it was the brunette who always got the guy, and the blonde was always left out. So I kind of like that because, you know, I was getting more and more red. I mean, I started off as a little kid, kind of blonde for a couple of years, but then it started to get brown, strawberry, blonde, brown, red. And I kind of was this blonde brunette most of my life, definitely not blonde like Helen. And so it was really like, wow. And then the brunette always got the guy, you know. I don't know what a great catch Archie was, but, you know. And
that was the thing there.
Yeah. That was really funny too. But in my high school, again, the blondes, and actually it even went into body size and stuff too. This is just the crazy world we live in. The girls who got the most attention were literally, so I was at 13, I was like the height I am now, like 5'8". The girls who got all the dates and the attention were like 5'2", 5'3", 5'4" was like the perfect height. And they all had this straight, perfect hair. I don't know how it got that way. Maybe that's how they were born, but like this straight, silky, I don't know how people get I don't know where that wild. You do have silky hair, Helen. It must have been somewhere, but
no, it's
hers is usually curly. She works on it.
You straighten it? Oh my God, you straighten it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm not blonde naturally. I'm actually very dark.
Remember, Gary and Dane have said somewhere along the line that we have control even over our DNA. Do you remember those talks? I mean, they're in and out, and that's so amazing. If we have control over our DNA, then we are infinite beings with so much more choice than we can even grasp. And I went to a conference. There was like a big association of energy workers and energy psychologists, and there was this guy named Kenneth Peltier, and I want to show you his book because it so substantiates what we've been doing with the Access classes. Talk among yourselves.
Although we get to watch your butt as you
yeah.
Kenneth Peltier, change your genes, change your life. Wow.
And it's Dr. Peltier. So that's the other one I was thinking about. I love that science is catching up with Access, which is so freaking cool, right?
Exactly.
Finally. And, you know, it's really funny. Do you remember I reached out to you in 2011? I'd heard someone talking on a telesummit, and I heard bars. Didn't know anything about bars, and I was in Guatemala, and I was going to Houston over the summer. So I found accessconsciousness.com. There wasn't much available online at the time, but I found Access, and I found your profile on the Access website, and I reached out to you I was just asking for a session, and you, thank the Lord, you offered me a class, and you invited me. You actually, even at the end of the class, said, you know, you could be a facilitator of this too, and arranged for me to have 2 more classes. And I'm so grateful because you totally changed my life. And I don't know if you remember, but you were like, that first class.
Rachel, thank you so much.
Of you.
Thank you so much. I'm one of the things I was discussing with Gary and Dane yesterday was what is success, because I have not properly thought of it, and I really, in many ways, have thought I failed. You know, I failed. You know, but I'm telling you, for me, I thought when you're thinking, I really had that, and I was so grateful that they really helped me maneuver out of that really not right thinking and what they asked me to consider, and this will be for everyone watching, consider asking this question: what's right about you may not be getting?
Yeah.
And what is right about you're not getting? What is right about me I'm not getting? It's such a great place to start, right? And then if you're talking about money, that's a beginning, because then what's right about you, you're not getting, then opens the door. I mean, I still struggle with asking people for money for my sessions.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not in some like, yes, I'm worth this much. And, you know, I mean, I still struggle with, oh my God.
One of the things that I just got, I pulled out my old copy because I'm part of Lauren Marie's Global Practitioners Group, and so are you, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I pulled out in my pod that the kind of the breakaway pod. Someone was mentioning in this book, the Right Riches for You book, there's a conversation specifically there about charging on page 74, actually. And I brought it up. I hadn't read it yet. I mean, I read it a long time ago. And
You haven't read it yet?
No, I've read it a long time ago, multiple times, but I didn't read it in relation to that conversation. I actually wanted to make a little video snippet for that pod because we were discussing about, you know, value. And I'm going to admit something. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, Helen came here to Guatemala to stay at my home and facilitate. She came to facilitate an Access Consciousness class. It was a 3-day body class because she's a phenomenal 3-day facilitator as well. Really, I mean, like I've been to several body classes with Helen, and I will say she goes to places that you can't hide. If you're willing to step into the class, you can't hide, and it looks so sweet, and they go bonk until she gets you. But one of the things that I had up on my mirror and in my, I don't know why, I just went kind of like off the deep end and into, I must not have any value whatsoever, because I had these posters that I made, you know, beautifully on Canva with different fonts and all. I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. And I had them freaking everywhere. I had it on the fridge. I had it, you know, I'd open the cupboard. It was stuck on the inside of the cupboard. I had it on the mirror. I had it everywhere. I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. I watched somebody and somebody's talk or whatever. It was like, you've got to know that you're enough. Well, there's such a lie in there in we're enough. And Helen was so kind as to point that to me. She's like, enough, is that enough for you? Like, are you truly just enough, or are you so much more?
More.
Yeah.
More.
And I just went into holy fuck. Thank you. I ripped all of those things off. I no longer have those on. And what you said brought me to this is like, do I think that I'm worth this? Well, you know what? That's kind of like the question that Helen asked me.
Yeah.
That you think you're worth or just enough? You're priceless. And I have another friend in Israel that some of us know. I know Helen knows and has played with. I don't know if you've met her yet. Her name is Sharona Huri. And she told me, because I was translating some stuff, she was helping me with Hebrew and English. And she said, do you realize that when we use energy, space, and consciousness clearings and access, when we say what energy, space, and consciousness can I be, blah, 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 she says, do you realize that's the acronym for the word truth in Hebrew? And I said, what? What you talking about, Willis? And she said, emet is aleph, is energia, energy. Merchav is space, you know, all possibilities. And taf is toda'ah, consciousness. Energy, space, and consciousness is truth. And so everywhere we're going to, even a tiny bit of diminishment from that, we're not being the truth of us. And so that to me was like, holy moly. That explains so much. You know, when we're being space, when we're being the infinite being that we be, there's that lightness, there's that fluidity where everything is available.
Yeah. Amazing. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it is. And
I'm truly amazed by that. It blows me away. Really
so
blows me
anything
away.
else is just a lie. So if we're not that space, energy, and consciousness, everything else is a lie.
Yep.
And it's not even real. Lie is not real.
Nope.
Right.
If
Right.
it feels like poo, I've heard Gary and Dane mention, it isn't you. In other words, if it's stinky, it's not you. It's not the truth of you.
Yeah.
No. And yuck is not us. It's not you. It's not me. Yuck is just a yuck.
Yuck is just a yuck. Yuckifuck.
And it's just that keeps the you stuck. So it is not worth being in the fuckety yuckety muckety stuck. Yeah.
Yuckety muckety. And so we can just even say everything that we've done to create yuckety muckety, pock and pot, all that. You can say that anytime you desire and change the energy of the yuck. The thing is, you actually have to choose to change. You have to have the desire to change and come out of yuck.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
To recognize that something else is available.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's what I see is our job as facilitators, is to open this big gate of invitation that yuck is not where you need to live, where you have to live. And even, oh my gosh, before I know we're about to go offline, but even the past with the new track, OMG, ladies, everything bad or negative that happened to us in this particular life, like, you know, my past 60 years, it's like, is not sticking anymore to me.
No.
Anything that anyone said to me can all be like washed with this like ocean of energy, space, and consciousness and choice and magic and mystery and what's the other one? Magic, mystery, and
possibilities.
Yeah, what's the third M?
Miracle.
Right. Magic, mystery, miracles, and possibilities. It can all be different now. Anything anyone said to you up till now, up till this moment in time, does not need to create your future.
It's that extra baggage, and we don't have to keep paying for it.
We don't have to hear it. It doesn't have a handle. We can drop it.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
This and by the way, we did start 5 minutes late, so we do have a couple of minutes. If you guys have any extra words.
I'm just looking. I'm going. It's 11:58. I think our thing is over at 12, isn't it?
Yeah, but we started at 10:06 because we were chit chatting between the rest of us.
Oh,
we were making jokes
and
about be you, change the world.
Oh
and we
my
don't have to stop, go. It's about a choice again. We can choose to stop. We can choose to go, and it's kind of like I'm sensing it is complete.
Yes, it is, and it just
So grateful
and gratitude.
Yeah, so grateful for you taking your time and joining us.
Well, I'm so grateful for you guys creating this. This is super fun. Super fun. I love these kind of conversations. They make my world expand and be greater.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to know that, you know, in the face of everything that's going on everywhere with everyone, there are people that we can be with, tune into, relax with, converse with, that
Play with,
that see things from lightness, see things from possibilities and play and appreciation. And that's, you know, one of the things that was coming up a lot this past weekend in the creation of wealth class was, you know, how grateful are you? What is the first thing that you hear in the morning when you wake up? I live on a ravine, and so I hear the birds constantly, and I love that. It's one of the choices that I have for wealth. And what could we be more grateful for and more receiving of and celebrating? I'm so glad that you were here. What a journey it's been. I met you in June of 2011.
Wow.
How does it get even better than that? Thank you.
How does it? Thank you both. Wow. Thank you. And let the journey continue, and, you know, for sure.
Ta-ta! And grateful for everyone who's been watching and commenting, and reach out to any of us and anyone else to keep playing and just step into being more of you. I wonder what that would create.
And everybody who will be watching after, please enjoy
Right.
our conversations. And hopefully you can pick and choose what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And maybe you will choose to get out of the yuck and suffering and pain and gravity of the situation. Just
And
a choice.
yeah, and feel free, all the people who will watch this in the future, feel free to reach out to any of us. You know, different people instigate and invite different people and different energies, and we all three are different, and we adore each other and work together, and we also work with people, and reach out to us if you have questions, and check out the Access website, and you know, get yourself to where you would like to be. Get the tools you require, whatever they are, whenever they are. I just encourage you. You can have a different future. You can have more lightness. You can have more joy and ease with money, with friendship, with your family, with being you. I mean, oh my gosh, this morning I went swimming and I had more joy swimming in my little complex pool than I think I might have ever had in my entire life. I had this sensation that me and my body and my being and the water, we were like one energy. It was so amazing.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And see you later.
Very much.
Thanks.
Are you going to say goodbye or do I have to say goodbye? I don't know. How
You can stay on. I'm going to end the broadcast and we can say goodbye between ourselves. But we can say goodbye, world, or as Dane says, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you.